Good evening and welcome to this emergency episode of the Cover One Buffalo podcast. Because guess what, folks? The Buffalo Bills have signed Josh Allen to a 6-year, $258 million extension. It's unbelievable news. We're jumping on in an emergency format here. I am in vacation mode. I'm getting ready for my daughter's 8th birthday party. I may get divorced for having to do this show. We'll see if I survive the night. But I had to jump on and be able to talk with you guys about this amazing contract. Obviously, we've been excited about Josh Allen for a long time and knowing that this kind of thing was coming. So being able to jump on and just talk through a couple of the details, get your questions in now. I'm not going to be on for a long time. Want to be able to share everything that I can about the contract and what we know so far. But what we have so far, we've got tweets from Adam Schefter. We've got tweets from Chris Mortensen. We've got confirmation from the team directly. I'm going to go through a handful of the things that we know for sure, and then we'll be able to go through there. So a handful of folks already here is Sean talking about the amount per year. What we know is we have 8 years of Josh Allen under contract. So the first is this year, which is 2021. That is his 4th year of his rookie contract. We then have next year, which is his 5th year option. The 5th year option is in 2022. We then go into the 6-year, $258 million contract that was announced. That $258 million extension averages out just exactly what Sean said, $43 million per year. So that happens afterwards. So I put out on a couple tweets, it's actually 8 years and $288 million because he has $6.9 million this year, and then he has his $23 million deal for his 5th year option next year. So you have that 2021 deal, 2022, then the 6-year option go 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 8 years of Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills. Those $288 million, I'm curious about. I put out some questions in a tweet to be able to talk through how is that going to play out. So there's a couple ways that they can go about doing that. Jay Conti here asking about, will the option bonus kick in 2023? So I'm going to get into those split up, but I am curious about next year. We'll start with next year first. I don't expect to get a ton of change in this year's contract. This year is a $6.9 million salary. It's fully guaranteed. It's already on his rookie deal. I don't expect there to be a lot of change or difference in where that comes from. Next year is interesting, though. Alan, I appreciate it very, very much. That means a lot. Next year, it's set to be a $23 million salary that's guaranteed in his 5th year option. They have some ways to play around with that. They could convert that over to an option bonus, which we're going to get into in greater detail. They could take a chunk of it and simply reduce it and add it into starting one of his bigger signing bonuses taking place next year. Some words you're going to want to get used to as these pieces come up as the news comes out with more and more of the detail. There are 3 kinds of bonuses. 2 of them are the ones you hear about most often, a signing bonus and a roster bonus. The signing bonus is the one we hear about most often, is amount of money that's paid that day when you sign it. That's what's called a signing bonus. And then will be spread out over the next 5 years. So that year when you do it and the next 5 years, it splits out evenly. Then when you go through, you have a choice of splitting that out. A roster bonus, which is actually something Brandon Beane has preferred to do, where he calls it pay as you go, and that you're able to go in and you're able to pay the guy the money when you can afford it right then. So a roster bonus pays it right then when you have it set for that year, but you take the full cap hit. So you get to give the guy the check usually in the spring or the summer rather than game checks during the year, but it's not terribly different than salary. The third one is called an option bonus. And what an option bonus does is each year it gives the team the choice. Do you want that lump sum of money to be paid out as an option bonus, or do you want that chunk of money to be paid out as a signing bonus? So when I think it was Sean Black that brought up here and asked the question about the comparison to Patrick Mahomes' deal, Jay Conti brought that up as well. That was the smart part about what the Chiefs did. Each year, the huge amount of money. Patrick Mahomes has like a bunch of $1 million salaries and $2 million salaries. What they did was each year there's a huge option bonus. And it's for him $40 to $50 million, depending on the year during his crazy 10-year, $500 million deal. Each year when that happens, they get the choice. Hey, are we doing pretty good in cap space this year? Can we afford to just write the check for $45 million? Which, as the TV money comes up, we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. Maybe that's an option. Or, hey, we're a little bit tight on the cap. It'd be really good if we could spread this out over 5 years and say it's a $40 million option bonus. We'll do it as a signing bonus and convert it over. We'll do $8 million each year over the next 5 years. Josh still gets a check for $40 million. He doesn't care. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. So I'm really curious. I'm going to assume, we won't know this till the details come out, that several of the upcoming years in the future part of the deal, the $43 million a year part of the deal, are going to be option bonuses. So I don't know that for sure. That's simply reading into the tea leaves of what we've heard with all the other pieces that come into play. But that's going to be my guess, is that they're going to use that option bonus function each year to be able to play around with, can we afford to eat it all right now, or do we need to spread it out? Early on, I'm going to guess 2023, the first year, it's probably going to make sense to spread it out. We're still going to be having a lot of really high-paid players, a lot of the extensions for Matt Milano, Deion Dawkins, Trey White, Darrell Williams are still on the books. We've probably signed Ed Oliver and Tremaine Edmonds to extensions by then. Stephon Diggs probably has gotten a pay raise by then. So in that first year, it probably makes sense to spread it out and to be able to say, hey, we're just going to take $8 million of that this year and we'll spread out $8 million in each of the future years. For Josh, it's actually $8.5 million to get to the $43 million for the year. Then in future years, let's say as the TV money comes in, there's some estimates that I've played around with and guys I trust that know the cap really well would estimate we might jump up to $250 million on the cap by 2024. If that's a big $30 million jump in 1 year, maybe all of a sudden you say, hey, Brandon Beane likes to pay as he goes. We're going to eat that $43 million in 2024 all at once. We're going to give it to you as a roster bonus. So we're going to pay you all right now and be able to give that to you in this one big check. Josh still gets the big chunk of money. The team can afford to pay for it then. And then each year they're going to have that choice as they go. So I'm really curious to see, is that how they play with it? Is that the way that they structure this? There's a lot of things to be answered there. So those are the first couple questions I had. Are we going to see a change in next year's cap number? Maybe give us a little bit of spending money to be able to go and assign some free agents to be able to go in and have a little bit more room for, if Tremaine Edmonds has a good year, to extend him, to go early on Ed Oliver, to give Stephon Diggs the pay raise he deserves. That might be nice to have a little bit of cushion next year. But anytime you do that, you're spreading it into future years. Another one of several folks in the chat here have brought up, I'll show a top shot, but a lot of other people have brought it up as well. Josh Allen just got the most guaranteed money in NFL history. He got the most money at signing at $100 million. He's getting $100 million guaranteed today when he signs the contract. And he also has $150 million in total guarantees, which is over the $141 million in total guarantees that Patrick Mahomes had. So a couple differences there. Really great recognition for it. He didn't get the per year money that Patrick Mahomes got. Now, I think that's fair. Patrick Mahomes has an NFL MVP. He has a Super Bowl MVP. He has a Super Bowl ring. Those things deserve a higher ceiling. But I was pretty impressed that Josh Allen is going to come in at $43 million, where Patrick Mahomes is at a $45 million average. This certainly is of great interest to the agents for Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield. I think Lamar probably has, a fair shot at 43 million, right there with Josh. He has an MVP trophy himself. I would expect maybe shorter years than Josh at 6 million. But then also I think Baker Mayfield might be closer to the years that Josh Allen got, but maybe closer to 40 million and a little bit less. But there's a whole lot of money that are going to be going around. The way that they go through and set this up, I thought it was really smart. I love the way they did this. I know there was a little discrepancy. Chris Mortensen's tweet said that it was through 2027, but then the Bills directly said through 2028. So I don't know if Mort just missed the 5th-year option deal and was thinking it was taking over next year. I'm going to trust that the Bills number is correct and that it's 6 years of new money. 6 years of new money at 258 averages out to 43 million per year. That's too logical for it not to be the case. So again, I think it's his 6.9 million in 2021 this year, his $23 million option next year. So he had 29.9, or we'll call it 30 million left on this year. Then the 6 years. So we get 8 more years total of Josh Allen at $288 million a year. Fantastic amount of money. It's really going to save it. I know Richard brought it up here as Allen buying the Sabres. I believe that the $288 million is now officially more than the Pagulas paid for the Buffalo Sabres. So Josh Allen is going to get more money than what the Sabres were last purchased for. So we'll see how he uses that money. I don't know that that's going to be his first purchase, but we're going to be able to go through there. So let me know any other questions. I'm going to go through a handful here. I don't have a ton of time, but we'll be able to look at it as it goes. Thank you very much, Patton. I really appreciate it. It's very, very generous of you. Daniel asking, any word on possible voidable years into Josh's deal? There's no word on it, but I'm pretty comfortable saying that there won't be any voidable years, because the reason people add voidable years is to get the 5-year proration of a signing bonus when you're actually only signing a 1 or 2 or 3 year deal like J.J. Watt was, or like Emmanuel Sanders was. So if Josh signed a 3-year deal, but they wanted to stretch it out to all 5 years of the max that you can prorate a signing bonus, then you would do a voidable year. Since Josh's is 6 years, you don't really need to do that. It's not necessary to be able to add those. But it's a good question. There's a handful more here. Last asking, Milano and others took a money hit to stay. I think that Allen's agents could have pushed for more on, more money up front. That I know that was the way that Dak Prescott set theirs up. He didn't want a lot of crazy options. He wanted just straight salary and money all up front. I believe the area that Josh gave back to the team, he got $43 million a year. He's not taking any discount. He didn't need to take a discount. He deserved to get paid this amount. I believe the area that he was team friendly and to give back to the team is what we're going to see in that structure, and being able to have it as option bonuses and being able to structure it in a way that makes it team friendly and gives Brandon Beane a lot of options each year to keep him surrounded with talent. Josh knows that he had that breakout last year, plenty because of his own work, plenty because of his own, hard, the effort that he built on, but he also benefited from having a Stephon Diggs and being able to afford to add more linemen, to add more receivers. He wants to see that coming in future years. So I think that's where we're going to see the, team friendly part of it, or Josh giving back. He didn't need to take a discount on the money, but he did give a very team friendly structure to be able to set those things up. So we'll see where that goes in the future. I've got time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions here to be able to go through and answer. Anthony Prohaska with a really good question. Does this mean we're not trading for Aaron Rodgers? I will go out on a limb and say that this guarantees we are not trading for Aaron Rodgers, and I appreciate you for the very insightful question. And I'll wrap this up here. Joe, it's $43 million per year, and that's just pretty straight math. 258 divided by 6 is 43. We won't know what that is per year. So that was the other question that we had, was we don't really know how it's set up. Did they wiggle anything around next year in the 5th-year option year? And then do they do just straight 43 million per year? Or maybe did they start and the first couple years are 38 and 40 and 41, and the later years are 44 and 46 and 47. There's a lot of ways you can structure this that I'm guessing they were pretty smart about the upcoming salary cap spike that we're going to see to be able to jump with all the new TV money. So here's my guesses of what we're going to see. And I don't know this for sure. These are just my guesses of what we're going to be able to see. So I think we are going to see some structure shift in next year's 2022 number. I'm guessing they found a way to take that 23 million and convert a chunk of it, maybe not all of it, a chunk of it into an option bonus that they can do as a signing bonus next year and spread that out and maybe even create as much as 15 million in cap space. You could, if you dropped him down to $1 million, or say 3 million, and took the 20 million as a signing bonus, you could then have 4 million for next year and 4 million each of the next 5 years. All of a sudden, Josh Allen costs $7 million next year. I think that's the kind of thing we might see. Then, as the years follow up, my guess is we do see a graduated scale. And if you take an average of 43, that means those middle years are probably pretty close to that 42 to 44 range. I'm guessing you could probably just go in even numbers and that we're going to see something decently aligned as 38 million, 40, 42, 44, 46, and 48. And over the 6 years, you're probably going to see something along those lines where it goes from 38 to 48 million, each of the years being mainly a option bonus that can be done as a roster bonus or a signing bonus to spread it out over that structure and to be able to decide when you want to pay him that chunk of money, but also building it up so as the salary cap goes up, it goes up a little bit more. We're going to be able to see how often that connects it to be able to do it in that way. But those are my guesses of what we're going to see. Obviously, we don't know that yet. I haven't seen anything beyond the announcement of 6 years, 258 million through 2028. So those are the things we know for sure. As more details come out, you'll see a lot of stuff that I'll tweet out and share. Obviously, we'll talk about this next week. Joe Marino is going to be a guest on the podcast. This is obviously going to be a big time topic for us to be able to talk through. Lots of people that were maybe hesitant on, is it time to give Josh Allen a deal? Should we see another season? I think it's interesting to be able to go to where that takes us. So, we'll see where that kind of takes us as we play this out. I've got time for maybe one or two more questions here. My man, how many times have you played the shout song since I got the news? I just have it on a loop in the background. I think we're on about 25 times now that it's played already. So I'm gonna end the show. I'm gonna be able to go back to dancing, getting ready for my daughter's birthday party tonight. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and this will just add to my celebration and all the joy that's there. So, Bills fans, you guys have waited an awful long time for this. It's been over 20 years since we've been able to have a guy that we can believe in. We now have a franchise quarterback. He wants to stay in Buffalo. He just made that official by guaranteeing himself and tying himself to the Buffalo Bills for the next 8 years through 2028. He is going to be here. That takes him through his age 33 season. He is with the Buffalo Bills through the prime of his career, and we are going to be able to root for this man for a long, long time, for an entire decade, and hopefully a full another contract after that we keep him here for a long, long time. This is a great day to be a Bills fan. Go ahead, take this and maybe rub it into a couple Dolphins and Jets and Patriots fans, friends of yours. Let them know that today is a good day to be a Buffalo Bills fan. I really appreciate you guys. This was awesome. I knew I had to jump on and give a little emergency show here to explain the contract and how excited we are to be able to have Josh Allen aboard the Buffalo Bills going forward. But thank you guys. This is an awesome turnout to do on no notice. I appreciate it. You've been listening to Cover One Buffalo, and we are out.